Younger self, what's your story?
To my younger self, what's your story?
To my younger self.
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 To my younger self. To my younger self.
To my younger self, what's your story? To my younger self, what's your story?
Well, hello and good morning. Good morning. How is everybody doing? It is good to see you. Ooh, why is the camera so big on my face? I don't know why. I'm just being funny. Well, good morning. The show is To My Younger Self. My name is Zoe Baraka. It is wonderful to see you today. Today is May 30th, 2023. My goodness, we are just about to hit the first half of the year. Where is the time going? Anyway, if I started to answer that question, we would not start our program today, right? Well, the show is To My Younger Self, and today we are on Author's Corner. We will be discussing this incredible, amazing, power-packed book, The Storm. The Storm. And it has a subtitle over here, says Her Faith, Womaning and Writing. I want to ask Dr. Perfect Koka what womaning means. Obviously, we know what it means, but where did she get the word? Before we do all of that and before we bring Dr. Perfect on, let me do a little greeting and just saying hello to each other from different parts of the world. And if you join us, could you please do me a favor? One, go into the comment section, say something to me, say hello, say what's up. I want to hear from you in your local dialect. But not only that, please do us a favor and share the link. Tell your friends To My Younger Self is on. It's the incredible, amazing, fantastic show that just kind of tells stories all around Africa. Okay? Alrighty. Greetings to you. Barakadazua. Yayade. Kakwana Lafia. I hope you slept well. Today, I just greeted you in Hausa. That is one of the oldest languages in the world. I like to say that because I'm very, very proud that I can speak a little bit of it, not too much, but I can speak some of it. You know what I mean? We are very grateful that you woke up today, and I just greeted you in my father tongue, and that will be the Kosal. How are you doing? Oh, I see that Nana Elikam is here, and he says, Indinao lo. Yes, Indinao Elikam. Do me a favor. Share. Tell your friends we're here and we're talking about The Storm. Okay? Just share. Alrighty, Etisen Akwaba Wintedenya Mawachi. It is very, very good to see you. I just greeted you in a few dialects of the Akan language. Lady Juliet, I see you. Yes, you are. Yay. How is London? You know, it's very funny. We're here talking about a book titled The Storm, and we had a storm earlier today. Okay, so it's very, very prophetic. I don't know why I thought I should say that to you, Lady Juliet, but I wanted to say that to you. And welcome back. I know you're in Ghana and you're having, well, it wasn't a trip that was a fun trip, but knowing who you are, I know you made the best of it. And so you're welcome back. It's so good to see you. Sawubonani to you if you speak Zulu. Ibella to you. Ibiokebari to you if you speak Mosite or your Tang. Do you speak Ga? OJ Ko to you. I just greeted you. Lale to you if you speak Chadian Arabic. Of course, from the bottom of Africa, as our dear friend always likes to say, we greet you. Intium Afet to you. How are you? It is very, very wonderful to see you. Salam alaikum to you. you. If you speak Arabic, Ekaro to you, Ekabo to you. Do you speak Yoruba? Thank you so much for joining us. Nagadef to you. If you speak Wolof, Jambo, habari gani, habari ya osupoi, Iyaore to you. I just greeted you in Swahili, Kotong to you, Amohelang to you. Do you speak Sesotho? It is wonderful to see you. Inyase Aloy Domilake. Do you speak Bisa, the people of Burkina Faso? I greet you. Ikotoli to you. If you speak Fofoldi and you are Fulani, thank you for joining us, my friends. Akeyi to you. If you speak Creole, all of our Haiti people, we greet you. How are you doing? Bonjour, buongiorno, buenos dias, Imaraba, welcome. Like I said, the show is To My Younger Self. Let me introduce you to this Power Pack book. Now, when I picked up this book, I wasn't prepared for what hit me. Okay, first of all, let me say that you will find this book on Book Nook, and also you'll find it on Amazon. You do want to get it. It is one of those books that kind of just, you read one poem. It's an anthology of perfect thoughts and ideas and faith and womanhood. It's a book of poetry, but for me, it did so much more, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Before we bring Perfect on, let me read a little bit. I mean, what better way to introduce the author than her own introduction in the book that she wrote, right? So today I'm going to be leafing through, and it's probably not going to look all that professional when you're just kind of speaking to the person. So yeah, well, Perfect Koka, and she's an MD, by the way. I needed to put that there. She is an MD. So Dr. Perfect Koka loves to be known as a Christian, a poet, and a medic, in that order. Did you get that? A Christian, a poet, and a medic, in that order. I love a woman who kind of puts her identity in the thing or the person that she believes, as opposed to what she does. So that right there tells you who Perfect is. The order of these descriptions speaks to her person. See, I didn't even know she was going to say that. A young woman who loves God, is passionate about her gifts and talents, and is a helper at heart. The other incredible thing about this book is the fact that the foreword was written by our own big sister and producer of this show, Elsie Dixon. Now, I didn't even know that when I picked up the book and we had invited Perfect to come on the show. It was when I got the book and I was reading it when I got my pleasant surprise. So really, there's no partiality there. I promise you, I didn't know. Listen, the other thing that's happening is I know that Tuesdays have become very, very challenging for people to jump on and watch us live. We understand that. And so for those of you who, make time to join us live on Tuesdays, we truly appreciate you. And those of you who are watching us after the show, I want to also say thank you for just joining us and being a part of the conversation. I know COVID is over officially, and so everybody's going back to work. And so it's hard to have you guys on here. So really, we do appreciate you. Listen, without further ado, let me introduce you, or let me bring the incredibly amazing, fantastic, this woman, right? She's always smiling. And I want to ask her, why? Why is she always smiling and laughing and just being so pretty? Well, please help me welcome the absolutely amazing Dr. Perfect Koka, author of The Storm, Her Faith, Womaning and Writing. Dr. Perfect, you are very welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you too?
I am doing very well. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very
well. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Well, welcome to the show and congratulations on your book, The Storm, Her Faith, Womaning and Writing. I'm going to just kick off the conversation with a very cliche question, a question that I personally don't like asking authors, but this particular book kind of jarred me, and I do want to ask you, why The Storm? Why did you choose The Storm? How did you get here?
Well, so The Storm was sort of a nickname in medical school.
Oh!
And So there's one. I don't know if it's a poem or a piece that I used to see often, that says that you are not the devil. The devil thought I was not like strong enough to withstand the storm, not knowing that I am the storm. And I thought, so that's cool. That's some empowerment, something.
Right.
And I looked at my life and all the things I'd overcome, and I thought, so that's something nice to go along with. Yeah. So um, people used to call me Storm informally, like in medical school, a few of my colleagues. So
Mhm.
I just thought that should, looking at what I think about when I'm writing my poems, that should go for the title of the book. And
Wow.
voila.
And yes, I was about to say et voila, and then of course, exactly right there. Then you got the title of your book, The Storm. I'm very fascinated with the cover of the book. How did you come about it? Who was the person that did this cover? And also the subtitle, Have Faith, Womaning and Writing. I think you've kind of explained that because of the things you've been through, the storm kind of just came out. And funny enough, when I was thinking about this, I thought Perfect is probably one of those women that is quiet on the inside. And when she comes in your environment, it's like a whirlwind came through. And when she leaves, you're like, whoa, what just happened? Is that an accurate description?
Yeah, it's just I'm quite depending on who I'm around,
Mm,
but the people who know me well, I'm not quiet, but I have a quiet demeanor if you first meet me or
right.
if you are around me for the first few times. Yeah.
Wow, wow. Let's dig in. Let's dig into this book, this incredibly delicious meal of words you have served us. And the reason why I'm calling it an incredibly delicious meal of words is the very first thing that struck me. We're going to go on the prologue. And you say, guys, today is going to be a little bit of reading, so hang in there, okay? And if you want to be a part of it, I don't know, Perfect. Do you have a Kindle version of this book?
No, not yet.
Okay, so we don't have a Kindle version yet, but get the book, and you will just be pleasantly surprised. And the prologue says, 7:24 p.m. today, I have ink, a stethoscope, more ink, and a grateful heart. Here's to more years of beautifully unfolding stories, more feather dipping with grace. You know, I literally just wrote on there, interesting. Where were you and how did you just think, 7:24 p.m. I just want to write. I have a pen and a stethoscope. This could be a poem. Because, I mean, it's weird for me. I could just sit here and go, 6:43. Today, I have a microphone and light. It would never occur to me that that could be poetry. You know what I mean? And for you,
Yes.
you were able to bring that out as poetry. What happened here in this prologue?
Okay, so first of all, there's almost every poem I've written, there's a background story to it. There's
Hmm.
something that's had happened. So for this one, it's
Oh, perfect. I think we lost you. Can you hear me? Yikes. Ay, ay, ay. It's called the Ghana internet situation. The Ghana internet situation. I don't know whether it's MTN or Glow, but something is happening. And now I am just talking. I think I'm going to keep talking until Perfect is able to come back on. And if you can hear me, can you please give me a thumbs up in the comment section? Just a quick thumbs up. And hopefully Perfect will be back with us very, very soon. Anyway, I think what Perfect was trying to say was that she has a story behind everything that she writes. And she was just about to give us a story. Perfect, if you can hear me, maybe you want to get out of the studio. I was just about to say that, and she's done it. And then just come back in because it looks like MTN or Glow, the platform that you're using, this internet thing in Ghana, man, I don't know if I'm going to be ready for it ever, ever, ever. but It's our country and we love it. So, I think what I was saying about the book was the fact that she was able to just grab a time of day and make poetry out of it. And I wasn't sure if I could do that. And Perfect was just about to tell us a story behind how she came about the prologue. And when she does come back, she will tell us that. And until she does, I'm going to just keep talking. The thing that struck me about this book was or is how it drew a lot of Bible verses out of me. I was very pleasantly surprised about that an anthology of poetry. Of course, the Book of Psalms is an anthology of words written by, King David, and we call it the book of poetry. And of course, there's Proverbs and all that in their book of poetry. But in our dispensation, I never really expected I would pick up a book in modern day and it would just bring so much Bible verse to me. Bible verse after Bible verse after Bible verse, and it's scattered all around as I was reading it. Hopefully Perfect will join us soon, because I was not prepared to have this conversation by myself. So now I'm being forced to have a one-on-one conversation with y'all. And I just wish that maybe one of you had read the book and then we would have a conversation in the comment section, but we're not going to be doing that. All right, well, what I will do is I will move on to one of my favorites. I have a few favorites, and so that's probably what I will do. Okay, I am told that she's almost here, so we'll just wait until she is well settled, and then we'll go on. But in chapter 7, she opens the book with word immunity, and she says, "You take a seat at the table, pointing a gun at my chest. My goodness. For bullet of words to pierce my heart, but your weapons of destruction are my toys at playtime. Words. Stuff my shielded heart bubbles with. The words make me. I breathe them. I spit them. I go to bed with them. I bend them." And over here, I literally wrote like Beckham. It just sounded like the next best thing that you would write. I bend them like Beckham. "You can blow out flames of words to wound me, and I will raise a storm to quench them. Pour your poison. I will write antidotes for you. So go on, sit at the table and serenade me with lies. I dine with words. You cannot take that plate from me, and you know it." And I almost ended the poetry for her by saying, "And so I eat it." But Dr. Perfect is back. Let us bring her back on. Hiya.
Hi.
Well, I see there's been a change in orientation in the picture form now, because you're probably on your phone, but you're welcome
Yes.
back. We're not going to worry too much about that, because I know how it is with the internet service back in Ghana. Anyway, I went on and started having a conversation all by myself, because I can do that. You were just about to kind of tell us the story behind the prologue. And yes, Juliet, exactly. She says, "I dine with words. You cannot take the plate from me." Wow. Exactly. Yo, I just sat there and I said, being a doctor and a poet, isn't that like 18th century kind of stuff she's pulling right now? When Plato was a philosopher and a lawyer and a doctor at the same time, and a poet, something like that. But all right, over to you, Perfect. You were going to tell us a story about the prologue.
Yes. So about the prologue,
Mhm.
as I was saying earlier before the interruption in power, yeah. So I have a story, like a background to almost all my poems. And for this one, it would interest you to know that I wrote it just when I heard that I had passed my final exams for medical school and I'm a doctor. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Exactly at 7:24 p.m.
Wow. And so it was at exactly 7:24 p.m.
Yes, exactly 7:24 p.m. So I
Oh,
just wrote it there and then.
wow. Oh, wow. Now, see, that makes it so much more powerful. And that is why you say, today I have ink, a stethoscope, and then more ink, because you were going to write anyway. And then they just told you, well, now you've earned the right to also have a stethoscope. And so you were like, well, I have the stethoscope again, but I still have more ink. I'll always be a writer. Wow.
Yes.
Oh, congratulations. No wonder
Thank you.
it gripped me. So I'm kind of, I just wish we could take it like chapter after chapter after chapter and kind of go through it, but we can't do that because there's 80 poems in here. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so I had to really force myself to kind of just settle on a few of them. And the first one that I settled on was number 7, which was word immunity, which is what we were discussing when you came on. And like, you know, Juliet was showing, was just saying, I dine with words. You cannot take the plate from me. Wow, because I was reading it and I was adding my own poetry to it. And I think that's what your poems do. And I'm going to read a few of it again, not all of it, but the ones that hit me. You take a seat at the table, pointing a gun at my chest. Why, Perfect? How did you get here?
Yeah, so for this poem in particular, I had the the prompt from a friend. We were chatting on WhatsApp, and then she said something about how poets just throw words about, and we say something like serenade me with lies. And I said, it'd be nice to write a poem and put serenade me with lies in it.
Ah,
And well, this the main background to putting this together was I think this was a period where there were lots of stuff going on with me personally, and people were trying to hurt me with words,
mm,
try to say stuff about me, um, spread lies,
mm.
just say hurtful things.
Wow.
And that was the time I was also discovering myself, and I used to be very emotional about these things. And then I was now understanding that I needed to be a stronger person,
Mm,
and I needed to find my worth not in the things people say, but in the word of God,
mm.
and also the things that I know and believe and affirm to myself.
Wow.
And yeah, so this was from that I wrote this poem. Yeah.
It's so interesting that you say that, because the question I wrote here was this shade for love lost? I wonder how long ago she wrote this, because I know who your husband is. So I'm like, this sounds like shade, like shade, like she's shading either a friend or some guy who just gave her a lot of lies. And she's like, I'm gonna use my words to get back at you. But man, you did serve this poem really, really hot. And whoever ate it must have had to eat it really cold. You came at them seriously. And so I am very interested, because you said her faith, woman, and writing, and you start off the book by saying her writing, and you tell us how you discovered writing as a little girl and how you started the poem and poetry in 2019 as a resolution towards self-discovery and stuff like that. How long have you been putting this together?
So most of the poems here I started writing them actually from 2019. But before
Mm,
then I used to write, and I didn't include anything I wrote before 2019 in this book, but I used
mhm,
to try my hands on writing and read a lot of poetry.
mhm.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. All right. So that takes care of, her writing, so to speak. And we're going to move on to her faith. And I'm going to read a little bit here. You said, my faith is everything. It's the totality of my being. I will say it is the greatest and best gift my parents gave me, and yet the most rewarding. This relationship has shaped me in defining my womanhood. And then, you go on and on and on. And we're going to move on. The reason why I stopped is because I want people to get the book so they can read it for themselves. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, on chapter 11, this will be on page 27. You say this: on a salva. First of all, I learned a new word, because here is me looking for my dictionary and going, what in God's name is a salva? And good morning, Goofy. Oh my God. Guelph 4, how are you guys doing in Canada? It is wonderful to see you, my dear friend. I was thinking about you the other day. I said, oh my God, Kofi has abandoned us unto my younger self. So it's very, very good to see you. Nelia Jemfi, it is good to see you. I do believe Nelia is trying to say, hey, doctor. And so, hey, back, even though I'm not a doctor. I could be one day. Who knows? I don't know. These days, you get honorary doctorate degrees everywhere.
Yeah.
So she starts off the poem by saying, on a salva. I know what salva means now. Hello. So if you don't know what it means, it's a very doctor kind of word, because I don't think just regular people would just kind of use on a salva like that. Go look for it, and you will probably understand the poem. But I'm going to actually, can you read it? Because I'm doing all the reading. So
Yeah.
in your voice.
To the King of Hearts, on a salver, this heart of mine I offer, this ripping, this brokenness, this crushing surrender, this parched heart, battered and bleeding, is all my Lord requires. An emptiness. This parched heart, oblivious to what the world cares about, you see the depths of, and still want it the same. The King of my heart's best fix, a divine touch, a heart surgery, to give it back to me, completely new.
Wow. You know, and I wrote in my note here that it reads like a psalm. And my question to you about this is, did you write this in the same space of brokenness as what King David would have written? You know, it reminded me of Psalm 2. And we're not going to pull up the Bible and do all of that, because then that would just be us really dissecting. But there's a brokenness about it, a surrendering of your being to it. And I just wanted to ask you, in what space of mind you were when you were writing this, you know, the brokenness of it, or was it just an offering to the Lord because, you know, you're writing about your faith and you thought, I'll just write him a love poem, you know?
I think I wrote this poem on a Sunday. Yeah. And I was feeling very spiritual.
It's funny how we feel spiritual on Sundays.
On
And on
Sundays,
most
yeah.
days, not necessarily, but on Sunday.
Yeah. So I don't remember exactly whether I was in this like.
Oh, come on. This internet crash, eh?
A
Anna,
sense of
there you
brokenness
go.
or something other day, and I was thinking about faithing.
Uh-oh. Perfect. I think we lost you. Well, I will take this opportunity, whilst we're waiting for Perfect to come back on, I'll take this opportunity to say, oh my God, Ghana, please, let us get it together. This is unacceptable. And I'm not giving a political speech. This has gone way beyond politics. I don't know who the onus lies on for this to be a norm. But internet service in the 21st century should not even be a privilege. It should begin to be a right, honestly. Only because in the 21st century, we're doing everything on the internet. We're selling and buying. We save lives on the internet. We're telling stories on the internet, commerce on the internet. It's highly improbable that something as simple, at least in my mind, maybe because of where I live right now, something as simple as the internet should be so complicated to the point where when we're here just kind of discussing a book, it's becoming like pulling teeth, you know. And I don't know who because it's government, we have to say who is in power and who might be able to do something about it, but I hope somebody's able to do something about it. Put some money where we can grow. And I believe that growing the internet in Ghana might help us grow. I'm going to get off my soapbox now and bring Dr. Perfect back. Okay? You are very welcome back. Oh, these power surges are driving me nuts. Oh, wow.
So sorry.
No, you don't have to be sorry. The beautiful thing about this show is that we kind of just roll with the punches. And when something happens like this, you know what? Zoe just keeps talking. We're not frazzled at all. None of us is. No, not me or the producers. We just keep it going. So over back to you. You were saying something. Yes.
Yes. So about the poem I just read.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I mentioned it was on a Sunday and I was feeling very spiritual. I was pondering on my faith and um, like how little it takes to just give all to God and all of that about it. Whether I was feeling whole, I was feeling empty, I was feeling broken, I was feeling sad, I was feeling my worst. He
It
still
was
wanted all
everything.
of
Yes.
that, and that
Yes.
yeah,
Wow. Wow.
he was whatever it was, he was still going to turn it back to me
Mhm.
whole and full. And I think it's very wonderful
Mhm.
as Christians and on the basis of our faith. Yeah.
Wow. And Auntie Doris says, beautiful poem, the king of our heart, our perfect cardiologist. And I think it's very apt that she would say our perfect cardiologist because you say a divine touch, a heart surgery to gift it back to me completely new. And isn't that what God does? He's always gifting us the things that we've messed up. He will take it, redesign, reconfigure it, and give it back to us almost as if it was never broken, right? So
Yeah.
that's another poem that I thoroughly enjoyed. The third one that I really enjoyed was this one in 12. And I think I want you to tell us what the title is, because that's a very, very Latin medical doctor kind of title.
Please,
Number
the poem again.
number
Number
12
two.
on page 28. And
Yeah.
Pearl, you are very welcome. Pearl says, that's my baby sis. She is just amazing. Isn't that, it's a wonderful thing when you're a big sister and you see your siblings doing incredibly well. I always just seem to have a heart surge completely, almost every week when I see my sisters doing these things. I just go, that's my baby sister. So you know what? I am in the same boat with you today. And being that Perfect is like a baby sister to me now. So there it is. Alrighty, let's go with number 12.
Yeah. So, number 12 also, I wrote this poem in medical school, final year.
Mhm.
Yeah. And um,
Can you tell us the title?
the title means to God. Yeah.
Right. But I want you to read it. That's what I'm saying.
To Doom. I may
Mm.
walk on parched and cracked lands. The clouds hanging over me may not part for the day's light. The
Mm.
greens on my left may be withering. The thorns may hurt me first before I notice the wilting roses. But even then, my melodies of praise shall not cease. To the Most High, I'll raise a doxology.
Exactly. And so this Te Deum for me reminded me of Te Deum Laudamus, right? Which is, again, we praise you, our God. And so it reminded me not only of Psalm 23, it reminded me of the canticles also in the Catholic denomination, where they read the canticles and they say, we praise you, our God, Father, the Holy One of whatever, they do that. And then the congregation would do a response and they would say, Amen. So it felt like a canticle, a greeting, a hallowing of God. And I just absolutely loved it. And of course, it did remind me of Psalm 23 when you say, I may walk on patched and cracked lands. The clouds hanging over my head, over me, may not part for the day's light. It's almost like a reverse of Psalm 23 in a very, very powerful way. And I just wanted to kind of share that. Number 13 for me has now become a prayer. And I'll just gloss over it very quickly because I kind of don't want people to steal this prayer. I want it for myself. But it's a very simple one. And I wrote this, may this be a consistent prayer. I wrote that in my book. But it says, may my intellect be the playground where simplicity and sophistication breed innovation. Hey, what a brothel. For those of you who can't speak Chi, I literally just says the woman could speak English. What a brothel. Dear God, let me and every minute of every hour of my life be worth something. You know, I wanted to say, let's gloss over it, but can you imagine if the entire world is praying this prayer every day consistently? Dear God, let me and every minute of every hour of my life be worth something. You seem like you're 16 years old. How did you get to this incredibly powerful thought that is like mind blowing? How did you get here?
Okay, so this poem is one of the first poems I wrote in 2019, and it was a period of deep introspection for me.
Mhm.
I I got to a point I sat down and asked myself, who am I? What where am I going? What do I want to do? What are my strengths? What am I giving to the world? And
Mhm.
I I I seem to have put my identity in things and relationships and
Mhm.
career and all of those things at the time. And it felt like those things were defining me. So when I got to that point of introspection, I one of the things that came to mind was that I mean I have the rest of my life ahead of me, and I what are my strengths? And that's when I was like, oh, I've been interested in poetry. I could be writing poems. I could be sharing them. I mean, my life could mean something through that, and not just one random girl day. And one of the things I prayed to God about was that He should help me let my life mean something and not just me trying to put my identity in
Mhm.
things and people.
Mhm.
Yes, and that was the background to
That
this.
is so incredible. I think for me, the power lies in when you say, be worth something every minute. Like it's such a radical thought. So even in this breath, may it be worth something. As I'm speaking to you now, may it be worth something. It's crazy that we never think about it like that. We always think about the result, as in when we're 90 years old or 100, then somebody will say, oh yeah, her life was worth something. She did this and that and that and that. But to think of it as in the moment of breathing, I am worth something. It's such a radical thought to me. And that's what this book is doing. Guys, I just want to remind you again, it's on Book Nook. Our big brother Nanara Dama will ship it to you anywhere you are in the world. And it's also on Amazon. But you know that I am very, very partial to booknook.store. So I want you to actually order it on Book Nook as opposed to the other, which I kind of don't want to mention, but we have to, Amazon. You know, the more lesser known Amazon. We want you to go to the more wildly known booknook.store. And I did not know you are an Infantiman girl. Girl, halfway. Or brand new Arabo Ampa. Yes, I'm an Infantiman girl also. So hello.
Oh, hey, wow, such a
Yes.
pleasant surprise.
I know, and you know, I was an infantile girl during Mrs. Asabia Crawford's time. Those
Oh,
were turbulent times. But see, I now understand the storm because you cannot go to Infantibar Girls and just come out like Yeah, I went to secondary school. No, no, no. Each and every one of us are storms. We just like come through like that.
Yeah.
And maybe one of these days I would invite you back so we can sing the Infantiman Ode. Or brand new Warabo from Tihom Mawada. Or
O'Brien,
brand new Warabo. Teo, Teo. Listen, it's our platform. We can kind of do what we want to do, right?
oh, yeah.
Oh,
Ah,
yeah. Doris, it is wonderful to see you. She says, I am watching live from Wale Wale. How is it going there? I love this young woman, Doris. I'm looking forward to meeting her very, very soon. She's a teacher and she's always doing incredible things. Yes, producer, give us a purple heart. Thank you, Aubrey. You were up. I'm going to get off that soapbox now. But this one here, I'm going to read because I read it. I know it was probably a love poem to God and to Jesus, but I smiled very wildly because I was saying to myself, this sounds, anyway, let me read it first. On 17, it says, Divine Paradoxes of Love. He came as warmth on winter. Now, see, my African brain was like, I don't know. That guy was born somewhere way past Egypt. I don't know. But we'll take them so because over here it happens during winter. So anyway, we'll move. A fire unquenched by snow, a spark that slipped through the mighty hands of Herod. Ish, he was a spark, like the match was lit, and then it just slipped through the mighty hands of Herod. Can you imagine the word and the imagery she's painting here? At the toss of a coin, birthed in a parable, suddenly I was transported back to the book of Isaiah. Do you see how I'm telling you this book just gave me so many Bible verses? Ridiculous.
yeah.
She says, the good shepherd was found in a stable, sired by a carpenter, perhaps to drop a message spanning ages. I fix all things. I fix all things. Grace wrapped in swaddling clothes, hero of scarlet-tinted humanity, in the innocence of a baby, a symphony sang to our souls, divine paradoxes of love. I don't have a question about this, but it just made me do that thing where you just sit in it and smile and go, those were beautiful words, just perfectly strung together. And I don't have a question. I just wanted to read that, just the feel of the words and the poetry coming out of my mouth. And I literally wrote here, made me smile so wildly. It was just a big smile on my face. We're going to go over to 22, where we meet the storm. We had a storm here today, and the whole time when I woke up in the middle of the night, it was probably like 2 a.m. And I said, oh my God, it's we're going to be talking about the storm, and it's storming. The thunder was going on. I actually saw lightning come through my window, and it started to pour out rain legitimately. And I was a little worried. I said, oh my God, how are we going to do the show? It's probably going to be, the sound will come through and everything. And I heard in my spirit, it'll be over before you guys start. It's crazy, right? Anyway, I just thought to put that out there, just how prophetic that was to me. Anyway, going to chapter 22. We meet the storm. Now we're meeting Perfect herself, okay? I want to read this because it was just, as a filmmaker, I wanted to do a film just with 22. She says, when they ask of me, tell them, I tame wildfires, stare down walls. Hey, with what do you stare down these walls? And roar at the waves. Girded with grace and strength, strides from brazen feet. Nothing will stop me. For. And I like the way she puts the for in just one sentence. For. That's the entire sentence. For. I, am the storm.
Drops mic.
Boom! Boom! Exactly. So tell me, obviously you're writing about yourself,
Yes.
but why did you write about yourself like this? And I like the title. She's like, just meet the storm. I am the storm. Oh my goodness. Tell us about this chapter, because I could go on and you would just be like, why am I here? She's talking the whole time by herself.
Okay, so um, I wrote this poem in medical school too, final year, I think, just before I was completing.
Mm,
And as I mentioned earlier, I was going through a period of introspection and
mm,
um, like self discovery.
mm,
And I realized how much I had focused on the negatives and like my esteem and all of that. And I look at myself and I look at my strengths, I look at the things I can do, the things God can do through me, and I'm like, no, I need to see myself for who I am and who God has made
mm,
me, and I need to see how powerful I am. And I mean, I was not being called the storm for
mm,
just for any reason. So yeah, I thought about it like how powerful someone could be, and
mm.
I read that poem out of
Wow.
that. Yeah.
Wow. Listen, Pearl, I'm sorry. Yes, get your sister from National. And maybe when we do a show, we'll produce a show where people from secondary schools jump on and sing their school ode and tell us stories from their various secondary schools. Then you can come on. But honestly, man, the Purple Heart, yeah, we're going to be bringing a lot of fire if this show ever happens. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
already we kind of dropped the gauntlets. You already know we're the storm. See, I'm attaching myself to greatness right now. She's the storm, I'm the storm. And Pearl says, Brofo dear moye. G2 is true. Infantiman girls are gonna yet to Brofo. I am pa.
Yeah.
I mean, look at me. You know, I'm just Nana Elikem says, this is one of the first poems she shared with me when we were dating. Oh, is that why your heart did that thing? It did, baboom. You're like, yeah, that's the girl. That's the one I want to marry. I couldn't. I was like, wow, for hours. He just wrote a poem. Nana, is that the extent of your poetry? I couldn't. I was like, wow, for hours. Drop the mic. I love it.
So
I
actually,
love it.
I framed this poem.
Mhm.
It's in the hall, so I could see somewhere I could see it every day and remind myself,
Oh, wow.
especially on days
Wow.
I don't feel myself too much. Yeah.
Wow. Yes. And our producer, Elsie, she says, Perfect has such a way with words. They are very evocative. And for her, you know, uh, onto my younger self, my brain does this where I think Bixis is the chief Agbara Brofo speaker. And then I come there. So for the chief Agbara herself, the Brofo speaker, to say your words are evocative, I'm kind of jealous a little bit because I thought she was saying that about me. So now I don't know. Yes, yes, Doris. It says the carpenter's son fixes all things. Now, this is by far, and I'm going to ask you which one your favorite is. I kind of have a sneaky feeling your favorite is number 22 since you have it framed. So you kind of answered my question there. But this is my favorite, and I will tell you why if you don't mind. And for those of you who have the book, can you go into the comment section and tell me which one your favorite is? Sans Nana Elikem, only because I know Elikem, all of them are his favorite because all of them is the storm and he married the storm. So, you know, but for those of you who have the book, I want to hear from you which poem is your favorite and why. Put it in the comment section for me. Okay, this is my favorite, number 24. Faces of the Storm. Some days I am the storm, other days I am the stream. In the spaces between rocks, I am still embracing both, with the same magnitude of acceptance and bouts of anticipation, reminding myself in between that the storm and the stream are still made of water on both days. Chai, I sat in that and I thought about the duality of life. I thought about Vix's and her word perspective. I thought about the danger of a single story and how you cannot take anybody's life at face value when you meet them in the process of any given story. This is such a powerful poem and powerful imagery of womanhood and accepting that you can be many things at the same time. You can be storm and you can be quiet. And I thought, especially for you, being a doctor, you can be in the OR or the ER or wherever you are, and you are incredibly the storm. And the moment, let's say, Elikam calls you, suddenly there is a stillness about your voice. And when you hear your baby's voice, there's a different kind of spirit that you come with. There's all these things. And when your friends call you, there is a different hello. Oh God, I went on and on and on and on. But this is by far my favorite. And I know I've already talked about the acceptance and the duality of life and all that. But in what space were you when you kind of wrote this poem? I feel like I answered the question already, but I still want to hear from you. Yeah.
You've answered the question, but I wrote this poem after medical school. I think before I had started working. That's break in between after school and well, you're a doctor, but you're not really a doctor. You're just cruising. Yeah. So um, I think something had happened that made me feel less of myself, and um, I just didn't feel that positive, powerful. You know, the days where you feel like you can do anything and everything, and I I had to remind myself that I need to accept myself for who we are. You know, a lot of us, and this is on social media a lot. We people usually post their successes only most of the time. You see someone you're like drooling over and all of that. That's the perfect the perfect life, the
They're
perfect
showing
person
you.
and
Yeah.
personality they show you. Yes.
Mhm.
But um your mistakes, your
Struggles.
weaknesses,
Yeah.
yeah, your shortfalls, they all come together with your strengths to make you who you are.
Mm,
And our identity should not be in the things you can do well.
mm,
And that is why I brought out the analogy that there's a storm, it's powerful, it sweeps everything, it's made of water, and then there's a stream and it's calm, it's between the rocks, it's quiet, it's going, it's also made of
Water.
water.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
And despite which of them you are feeling any day, you should know that despite all of that, you are still water, you are still who
You
you are.
are
It doesn't,
essentially.
yeah,
Mm,
yes. Your authentic self, your
wow.
real you, yes. And
Wow.
especially your identity in Christ.
Mm,
Yes.
mm. Wow. Wow. And indeed, when you want to even take it a step further, God Himself has made sure we get to see Him in different faces. And that's why the Bible calls Him what? The multi breasted one. That He doesn't show you just the one face. I am God, or if you watched Guardians of the Galaxy, the three characters, he just goes, I am Groot. That's the only sentence he knows. But you kind of think of God as He's the Father, He's the friend, He's a comforter, He's a mighty warrior, He's also the provider. There's this consistent not a battle, but a consistent change of phase with God every single moment. You know, he's your laughing partner, but he's also your disciplinarian father. It's kind of weird. And so I just love this. And if I was going to frame anything with your permission, it would definitely be chapter 24. That's what I would want to frame, to
You have
put
my
in
permission.
in an office. There you go. See, I just love this. I just love this. Thank you. And you see how long we've been talking then. Anyway, it's a readable book. You can read this book legitimately in like 2 hours. But the thing that this book will do for you is you will literally be thinking for like a week, because you just keep going back to it. And you're like, what does she mean there? What does she mean there? Whoa, how did she write that? It's ridiculously crazy. Chapter 25, Flower Garden. We're not going to talk about it, but I just wanted to point out how I wrote on here. And I don't know if you can see it. I wrote right there, Psalm 139, because that's what it reminded me of. It also reminded me of Psalm 4. We're just going to keep going, because I can go on and on. Maybe one day that's what I'll do. Without you, I'll come on here and I'll take one chapter and I would say, this is how I felt. This is what I think Perfect was saying. Can you imagine me doing that? The arrogance of it all. Number 26 scared me a little bit.
Really?
I was like, it transported me into the arena in Spartacus, or The Gladiator, or 300. If you've seen any of those films.
I've not seen any of
Oh,
those.
girl. Okay, see, now I'm talking in a vacuum, but for any of you in the audience who has seen any of these movies, and Anelikam, please bear me out if you've seen it yourself, and others on here. And if you have the book, okay, let me read it first. And I don't speak Latin, so I might butcher this one. But it says the chassis. I hope I got that. And if not, Perfect will correct me. You will encounter death many times before you die. Chale. That just jarred me. I'm like, what? Don't say that. Deaths of acquaintances, old habits, places, things, wilting of fears, desires, and spaces so toxic, deaths from people hunting down the best of your game, deaths from making a living out of every day. But darling, do not be afraid. Let each be one of the most glorious death you face. Like a seed, die within to produce the best sprout ever. This is not your end. This is your beginning. I legitimately was just thinking I would just raise up my sword and I would go, I am Spartacus. It just had that feel of it. Like, I am Spartacus. I will die many deaths before my but I just thought I would read that. It kind of scared me a little bit.
Really?
Yes, I
Sorry for
know.
scaring you.
Say that again?
Sorry for scaring you.
No, I think that means you've done your job. That's it. It's supposed to jar us. Pearl says, even the Red Sea was crossed. Chai, you are really the storm. She says, see, she gave the permission to her purple sis. Hey, Cyterians, it looks like maybe you didn't give your own sister the permission. Child, we shall not bring this kind of family thing here. We'll discuss this later in the background. But
Yeah.
I'm glad it scared me, because, again, it reminded me of the many depths. I see a theme here. Because you're talking a lot about the duality of life, about how to exist in a space, no matter what is going on, that you can be many things at the same time, and that when you are losing friends, consider it a kind of death. But also remember, you will gain another friend and you will rise again. but you'll die again the next day. Indeed, every time we go to bed, we're dying and we're rising up again, if we can think about it that way. So it was a healthy kind of scary. So
Yeah.
don't worry, you didn't, like scare me to death. Maybe I did die, but I rose back up again. Um, exactly. Nana says, the beauty of the book is that, see, I'm taking this with a pinch of salt, Nana. And I'm just being naughty, only because, I mean, you're the husband. You have to write the beauty of the book, right? I'm joking, I'm joking. But he says the beauty of the book is that you can relate with it in ways that the author didn't mean. Yes, you can make your own meanings out of the poems, and it's just fine that way. And that's the power of your words. Perfect. I mean, I think this should segue into, well, I know why you wrote the book. You wrote it so you can see a different side of you, but what were you hoping the audience would get from it? Anyone that was reading, what were you hoping they would get from it? Don't take your husband's answer.
Well, so this book, as much as it's very personal to me, I hope that everyone can first of all share in my journey, and then also they can learn something that would shape their life, that would change their life, change their perspective about life,
Mhm.
especially women.
Mm.
Yes.
Mm. Wow.
Because this was a book I wrote. These were poems I wrote at a point in my life where
Mm.
my perspective was changed and
Mhm.
shifted from, and I saw a lot of growth at that time.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I just hope anyone who reads the book goes through some sort of growth in their life, in any aspect of their life at all.
Wow. 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 Well, I know for sure that I have grown. I still have a few to go, and we're already an hour in. So, guys, I have to ask your permission. We're gonna try to run through it, because, again, if I had my way, I really would want to just kind of take this book one chapter at a time. It is really that deep. It really, really is. This would definitely be one of my most treasured books. I have a few here, and I'm just going to add it to it. It's one of those that I think to my younger self can definitely come back to every once in a while and rehash and re-talk about and kind of remind people a powerful book exists. We're going to jump to number 31. Um, And I wrote here in my notes, I imagine singing this on stage. And the reason why, Perfect, is because you start this poem with, this right here is to the people who stopped by our garden. And it just sounded like, you're on stage and you just finished a performance and you have another performance. It's like, this right here is for humans. But it's titled Beautiful Humans. I'll let you read it.
Beautiful humans.
Mhm.
This right here is to the people. Sorry, I couldn't rap.
You gotta do it. This right here is for the people.
We stop by our garden, not only to water it,
Mm,
but plant a rose or two with,
mm,
with intent as clear as the Maldivian rivers.
mm,
Thank you for teaching us to hold the watering can for others.
mm,
Your kind is beautiful. Keep thawing hearts.
mm, mm. And with this, we pay homage to everyone who's been in our lives, myself, and of course, Perfect. The one common person that has been in both of our lives is our big sister, Elsie. And I think to you, she's not a big sister. To you, she's an aunt and a kind of mother. Who kind of stops by in our lives and not only waters it, but plants a rose and nurtures it and all that stuff. And so to everyone who, is a beautiful human, this right here is for you. I cannot pull it off, but I'm trying, I promise. Number 36. There's one that really kind of hurt me, and I really wanted to talk about it, but I'm gonna try to move past it. But number 36, I think I want to read this.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's called Adulthood. It kind of gave me a thought. When they say adulthood is a scam, they're not lying, you know. I was like, oh God. But adulthood, what if your childhood had no sunshine? Oh God, what a thought. A broken calendar without summer, filled with quarrels, rolling bottles, screams, tears, blood, guns, hunger. A robbery of bliss by the people who owed you one. Then one day you grew up and heard adulthood was a scam. Somehow you drank those words in from bottles that roll your memory 17 years back. Or, what if it is not? Let your adulthood put the sun back in the sky. Hey, you can put the sun back in the sky. Fine, if it's filled with balloons, crowns, ice cream, laughter, faith, colors, anniversaries, love, trust, tenderness, rest. It's not a competition of who has it the hardest. Maybe you should go chasing your bliss now. And for me, first I thought, well, the very first one about rolling bottles and screams and tears and guns and hunger, that's a reality for a lot of children even now. And I didn't want to go further because the moment you go further, you start thinking, what can we do? God, give us money. And it becomes a whole thing. So I just stopped. And then I came to the flip side of it. And the word that disturbed me the most, perfect, was the word rest. When you wrote rest, what was your intention there? Because for me, it just signified a finality of it all. But for some reason, I didn't get a finality of happiness. It felt like a finality of you're done now. You can die a happy death. What were you thinking here? Or was it just a word you thought you could put there? Because sometimes poets do that.
Yeah.
So,
But this was not that.
mm,
So before I talk about the rest, I just wanted to say something little about this poem.
mm,
Yeah, this poem, um, basically, I was focusing on um, we going through some sort of therapy or healing as adults.
mm,
Um, Broken children grow up to be broken adults, and
no, mm,
um, we bleed on other people because we've not healed. And a lot of us, almost or every one of us, had gone through something terrible in childhood, one way or the other.
mm,
It may be it may be something little or something as serious as war.
mm,
I mean, I've heard my mom talk about some war when she was little in her hometown, and they had to flee, and how she described it. I thought about people who actually go through these things and what becomes of them in the end, or
mm,
people who had gone through some sort of abuse.
mm,
We've had people who went through childhood without food to eat, without clothes to wear, people who lost family and they had to live with other people who maltreated them.
mm,
And somehow I think a lot of the things we have going on now in as adults in marriages, in work, in society, it's because we carried all this trauma,
mm,
and then we think this is how life should be. We didn't heal from them. We become adults, and then the trauma becomes a cycle. But what if that was your childhood? Fine, but how about now as an adult,
mm.
that you now that you have the control over your life and everything you can do, what are you doing differently?
Wow.
How are you healing and changing the narrative? Yes.
Mm,
So I didn't want to I didn't want to go through adulthood like how I went through childhood on autopilot. You didn't have so much control on a lot of things.
Yes.
You've been taken care of, and whatever presented itself was what you had. But now you're in your space, um, you are taking care of yourself. You have to some extent power to do what you want to do and change the story. Are you going to continue with the quarrels? Are you going to continue with the screams and the tears? Are you going to keep crying and crying? Are you going to wallow in that pity, or you are going to change something about it? You're going to have celebrations. You're going to laugh. Even if it's not rosy, you still find a reason to laugh. You're going to laugh. You're going to spread love. You're going to embrace love. You're going to celebrate anniversaries. You're you're going to live a colorful life. And
You're
you
gonna
have
choose joy, basically.
yes,
Wow.
yes. And you have rest in the sense of peace, in the sense of an absence of the um as in being in a state of constant struggle, anguish. You are ready to attack, that kind of state. Out of that state to going through life with a mindset of ease on yourself,
Oh.
on yourself. On the Bible talks about rest for as Christians, how we enter God's rest, and it's more like everything is in God's hands, and I don't have to try to fix everything, and God would fix it, and I just walk in that rest. I just walk in that
Wow.
understanding. Yes, so that was what I meant by rest.
Oh
And
my
I
God.
wrote that word. I added that rest as something I felt. I got to a point and I felt it, and it, in fact, it's a different perspective, seeing life through the lens of rest.
Mm,
Yes,
mm,
and not being this angry, sad, depressed person trying to change, fix everything by herself, and trying to do everything by myself, trying to control people, trying to, yeah, not being that kind of person, but being like resting in God's love, resting in the love, embracing kindness, tenderness, and living an intentional life,
mm,
making time to celebrate. A lot of us put out happiness and celebration for the future, but it's an illusion.
mm, mm,
Yes, it's an illusion, because I remember when I was 20 and I thought about how life would be in 10, 10 years' time. And then the 10 years' time came. And now you're wondering, oh, 20 years' time, if I get to this point, I would be happy. And 20 years' time will come. And you look back and you ask yourself, what happened? Did
mm.
I get that happiness? Yes.
Wow.
So rather than life happening to us like how it happened to us when we're children, as adults, we rather happen to life.
Mm. Ooh, she dropped a few nuggets, and I don't play, man. I just wish that there was someone who could kind of like hashtag all of these. But uh, one, that we happen to life and that life doesn't happen to us. That is a radical thought. And then the one thing you said about rest is walking in the mindset of ease. That will preach so many sermons. It's ridiculous to walk in the mindset of ease. Do you even understand what you just said? I know you do, but I'm just saying just how powerful it is. And Lady Juliet is not lying. Listen, this woman, she celebrates everything all day. Okay, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, this woman, like her food and her champagne, like legitimately, I'm like, why is she disturbing my stomach? Especially when I'm fasting, I do not want to be on her page because it's celebrating the law all day. She embodies this particular thing that we're talking about, the mindset of rest and ease. Would that all of us will actually just adopt that. I think I was listening to a preacher man the other day, and he says that the Christendom is saddled with a victim mentality. Isn't that sad? That Christians are saddled with victim mentality. So we walk around thinking the world owes us something when we owe the world joy and happiness. Us, we have to choose it. No one can give it to us. And we can talk about this all day. But what a powerful poem. And I think I'm kind of, I'm kind of torn now between this particular one, number 36, and number 24, as my favorite. Oh, definitely number 24, but I think I like this one too very, very much, because after you've explained the word rest, I really fully understand it now. What a powerful way to preach. Honestly, we're gonna go. I didn't envision we would talk so much. Perfect. Honestly, I really didn't. That we would talk and talk and talk. Your book is just filled with so much. The last chapter that we're going to talk about will be 40, sadly, only because we have to go. But if I had my way, we would go on and on and on till we got to the epilogue, because I like number 60 also, where you address the past. I like number 51 when you 59 when you talk about self-love. Number 50, I love all of them. That's my problem. But let's settle for 40 now, and I'll tell you why in a minute. I don't know. I want to read this. And now, anyway, let's start. Full circle. One of my childhood experiences, precisely in junior high, was growing up being the most laughed at girl at my school. Crushing all the crumbs of beauty in me, if there was. I was that awkward girl. I sulked and wished I had vanishing abilities. Maybe they had something I didn't have, or I had something they could never have. I liked that. My faith grew as my dignity and esteem withered, and I made a comfortable home at the sidelines until my sudden encounters with people who dug out all the beauty there is in me. I began to believe my smile could mean a sunrise to me or someone, as more angels watered my feet till today. So when I laugh at life, I know exactly why I do so. I've made a table before negativity and eaten to satisfaction. Okay. One day, I know I may have a son or sons, a daughter or daughters, grateful enough, if I have, they will meet this unkind world. They will hear the voices I heard, maybe cry tears I cried. I hope and pray I don't forget to teach them to sit at tables, deserving or not, and rise from the tables with dignity and confidence, knowing that the world will push and crush only to bring out every breathing faith and gift in us, to create a star the skies envy. And I hope and pray the heavens are kind enough to send them little and big angels too. Like Lady Juliet, I think we should rest in these words for just a second. First of all, how can anyone look at you and laugh?
Well, I didn't look like this back then.
But I imagine you were a very beautiful little girl. So I'm thinking, you? They
Yeah.
laughed at you? Well, who is laughing now? I feel like you should say that to them, like, who is laughing now? And then bob your head like that. But I'm making light of it because it hit home so hard for me, because I wrote it right here. And I don't know if you can see it. The camera is somewhere. I wrote it right there. So was I. I was the awkward girl too. I too was laughed at. I too had a lot of slurs cast out at me and all kinds of things. and your self-esteem just kind of withers. And I don't know how God brought us through, but perfect, look at us now. I just wanted to say that, look at us now. um, Pearl says yes, she has a son indeed. God has been faithful, and there will be many sons, and there will be daughters and their daughters and their daughters and their daughters, and they will all be powerful. They will all be powerful. Perfect. I want to say thank you for this book. Um, is there, I don't know how to end this show because of just how powerful the book is. Um, the one thing I will take away from the book as I read, especially Full Circle, was my presence is pressure. And because it is pressure, most people can't take it. That's what the storm is. When you come into a room, your entire presence is pressure. People are dumbfounded. They're looking at you like, how did this storm enter into this tiny little space and still managed to, survive in this space? Because more often than not, storms are larger than life. And no matter where you put them, they find a way to go through it. And then they release and they become like streams. Do you see how powerful your poetry is? I could go on and on and on. Perfect. What was well, it's not the last thing, but just about the book. How do you feel, and what is your imagination about how you want this book to move forward from now? What do you see the book doing?
I First of all, I feel very excited, and sometimes I feel like I'm dreaming. I wrote a book because it has been a dream, and then
Mm,
it happened. I wrote a
wow,
book. I wrote a book. Yes, and
wow.
I'm humbled by that thought of it.
Mm, mm,
And I I just want this book to be an inspiration, a healing for anyone who
mm,
gets hold of it. I hope as many people as possible can get it and read, just so I, as a way of sharing my life and
mm.
as a way of sharing my experiences and my love with everyone. And
Wow.
yeah, if you permit, I'd read the epilogue.
Yes, please go ahead. Mhm,
This sums up whatever I want to say
mhm, mhm.
after this. Yeah,
Yes.
epilogue. Still learning,
Mhm.
but I'm still learning. Learning not to fear the noise. Learning not to love the silence only. Learning not to fold it all up. Learning to walk this earth emptied. Until then, I'm still trying to find the right time and space. When I do, I certainly will be a ravaging fire. I'm just still learning.
And with that, wow, thank you. I think the next project for you will be titled The Ravaging Fire. I really, really think so. The storm and the ravaging fire. This could be a whole series of something. You've just stumbled into a gold mine, in my opinion. And I really cannot wait to see you digging literally these nuggets of gold, both metaphorically, but also literally. Because when we become this creative, we're meant to eat from that creativity. And so, much like someone serves you words, I really do hope that these words serve you, um, figuratively and literally, literally. We're going to just kind of try to sign off now. First, saying thank you to Perfect, of course, to Nana Ellie Kem, to Big Sis Elsie, Nana Red Damwa, because I know it's an entire team that came together to kind of produce this incredibly powerful book. And of course, you can find it on Book Next Door. But today, I also want to take a few minutes of your time. Perfect, please bear with me. We'll circle back when you tell us the last thing you want to say. But I want to get on a little bit of a soapbox today. And I'm going to look straight in the camera as I say this. Over the last couple of days, a young lady's video has come out on social media in Ghanaian circles, and it's become kind of, viral now, where she finds herself in the northern parts of Ghana, and she's giving out sanitary pads. I don't know if it's her NGO, and I will mention her name. Her name is Rita Etonamse, and she describes young women in the northern parts of Ghana, because I believe this month, or maybe some part of this month, was World Sanitary Pad Month or something like that, Health Month. And she claimed that young women in the north, well, first she said she had never encountered poverty so badly until she found herself in the north. First of all, shame on you. There is poverty everywhere. I live in the United States, and I have encountered poverty in some of the most, your mind will be blown. And I understand that we have our own personal stories, and for you, because of where you live on the continent, for you, that poverty you saw was in the north. And that's well and good, because nobody is saying there's no poverty in the north. There is as much poverty in the north as much as there is in the south, in the east, and in the west, and indeed everywhere in Africa. But for you to say those blatant lies about young women in the northern parts of Ghana using clay as sanitary pads blows my mind. Humanity should not go this low in an attempt, one, to help people, and also in an attempt to make money. Because honestly, in my mind, you're not trying to help these young ladies. When I saw the video, there was no sustainability of what you're trying to do. And I applaud you for even thinking about the young women of the north. But if you're going to help, one, don't put a video camera on yourself. That's not help. That's not philanthropy. That's you just saying to other people, look what I am doing, give me more money so I can lie to you more. I'm being very calculating with my words. So understand, please, that anyway, a lot of people, especially in the north, have called out this young woman and said that they need an apology from her. I personally, as Zoe Baraka, as a young woman also from the north, as intelligent as I am, as the storm that I am, I don't need an apology from someone like Rita Etanamse. I really don't. What I would ask of you is to please desist from spreading blatant lies, not really only about the north, but about anything you're doing. If you're going to do it in excellence, do it in grace. If you really want to help young women, then please do not denigrate them. And if you're going to denigrate them, do it in truthfulness. So I don't need an apology from you. I don't think any of us does, really. What we need from you is to rediscover yourself, rediscover your mission and your why for doing what you're doing, and then come back again. Because, of course, we all make mistakes, and we're glad that you're doing what you're doing, but you did make a mistake with that statement. Just come back again and do it well. And with that, I wish you well. Rita Etanamse, I hope that you really rediscover yourself. And please, 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 please find excellence in what you're doing. Find sustainability in what you're doing. And to all the young women in the north, I am praying for you, and I'm hoping that one day people would desist from thinking that when they come from wherever in the world, they can just dump their supposed goodness on you because they think we needed more. I'm going to jump off my soapbox now. That I just thought to put that out there. All right, we're back to being Zoe Baraka, the fun girl, okay? I want to say thank you to all of the people that voiced out their distaste in this particular incident. Wiyala, thank you. Abdul Mumin, thank you. Joshua Margaret, there's a lot of people, influential people who came out to kind of say this is wrong. The TV stations who sat there and did not fact check her or even correct her, shame on you. TV3, thank you for coming out with an apology. I was really looking forward to GTV doing the same thing. I haven't seen anything out there, and if they have, then thank you. Let's keep checking each other, and let's keep demanding excellence from each other. Okay? All righty. Pearl says, Zoe, you just hit the nail right there. Kudos. I was actually, thank you, Pearl. I really was not looking for kudos. I really, honestly, I want Rita Etanamse to just rediscover her excellence. I believe it's there. All of us make mistakes. But if she's not taking any responsibility for what is happening or what has happened, I really take issue with it. Auntie Lamisi says, Zoe, I applaud you for putting this out there. That's degrading. Yes, indeed, it was degrading. And I would still talk about it if she had said it about young women in the southern parts of Ghana. I would still talk about it if she had said it about young women in Rwanda. It's not because I am from the north, and I am from the north. It's not because of that. I really do think, scientifically speaking, logically speaking, there is no way anyone on the planet would think clay was sanitary enough. Are they not wearing... I'm going to get off this soapbox now. I'm going to get it off. I'm going to get off the soapbox now. Okay, the storm. Yes, she needs to read The Storm. Maybe Perfect could dash her one. No, she got money from donors. We are not dashing her one. She better go buy one. And when she buys one, we want Rita Etonom say to reach out to Perfect and say thank you to her for writing the book. Yes, I am being petty on that one. All righty. I've taken too much of your time today, so we're not going to do the cue cards. You all know what we always do. Patronize African goods and African literature and all of that. Love Africa. Put your money where your heart is. All of that great stuff. We're going to be back next week with one of my favorite artists from Ghana in modern times, in recent times. 6 Strings is going to be here sharing stories, and of course with his guitar, and he will be telling us stories while he serenades it with, some music. We don't know. Maybe he will. And so that's what we're expecting next week. And there's so much more coming in the month of June. You have to stay tuned to My Younger Self. Perfect. What's the last thing you would like to kind of leave us with?
Okay. So I encourage everyone to get a copy of The Storm.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you'd be wild. I wouldn't say much. I mean, I'm sure from the few poems we've read, you're already dumbfounded. And I also want to appreciate you. I want to appreciate Auntie Elsie. I want to appreciate my husband, my dear husband, Nana Elike. He has been very supportive and very helpful with this book. He literally, I don't know whether he had a reminder reminding me that you said you would write a book, gather the poems, and let's start working. Let's start working on it. And he had been on my neck. I mean, I initially I was being very slow and just dilly-dallying around it, but he made sure the book came out as soon as it could be, and he edited the book too. Yeah.
Wow.
He did a lot. I mean, if I want to talk about all of that, we would have another show. I really want to appreciate all the support, all the help, all the love, all the care, everything with regards to this book. He's done tremendously well. I also want to appreciate my father, Dr. Joseph Koka. His birthday was last week. I want to wish him a
Oh, happy birthday to you, Dad.
he
Wow.
was following. I don't know if he's still on. He was following at some point. He commented.
Oh, you should have said something and we would say hello to him. We doff our hat to you, sir, and happy belated birthday to you.
He's read almost all my poems because I shared them with him, and
Oh,
he's always saying something, one thing encouraging or the other, right from the start. And he's been very excited about the book. I want to thank him very much for his support.
wow.
He's been amazing. He's held my hand all through and made sure I achieve all the dreams I set out to achieve for myself. I want to thank my family, my siblings, my friends,
Mm,
my colleagues. I want to thank everybody. And I want to also thank everybody who watched, who came in to join us to watch
yes,
the show.
thank you. Yes. Wow. Wow.
I'm very grateful.
Wow.
And I hadn't been writing new poems for a while now, and I think this is a good time to come back.
Yes, yes, it really is a
So
good time to come
let's
back.
let's stay tuned for more.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we are looking forward to it. Our executive producer, Emmanuel Sorogo, is his birthday today. So from the entire To My Younger Self team, sir, we want to say thank you. God bless you. May the oil on your head never run dry. We appreciate you in every sense of the word. Happy birthday to you. I know you're going to enjoy your day today because you are my sister's roommate. Yeah. I joke, but really not joking. Really, sir, happy birthday to you. We truly do appreciate you. On to my younger self. And here is Pops. I am still listening to you. Hello, sir. Oh, it is such a wonderful feeling when our fathers and our mothers watch us. I always get a kick from it. So much respect for you, sir. Thank you for joining us today. And your little girl has literally taken the world by storm. And we're glad that you're here to witness it. Thank you so much. Pearl, thank you too. And now we're going to unhook. To everyone who donates on the show, today we're not going to be mentioning names, but we want to say thank you for all of your commitment and your encouragement. For those of you who reach out to me on a consistent basis and give me ideas, and the team ideas, and tell us what we can tweak and what we can take out. You all are very, very much appreciated. And finally, Perfect, thank you for your yes to the show. Thank you for being here. Thank you for writing The Storm. Her Faith, Womaning&Writing. Nelia Jemfi just said she just ordered it, and I am looking forward to a lot more of you ordering it. When you get your book, take a screenshot of it, hashtag it The Storm, and put it on the To My Younger Self page. We want to see you guys reading The Storm. With that being said, my name is Zoe Baraka, and I've been in the studio with Dr. Perfect Koka, and we will be back next week with 6 Drinks. The show has been To My Younger Self. With so much love. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Kaja Ikushima, you know, when he met on